So she is like your handler, your manager kind of thing. So
Correct.
you're working on it. Wait a minute, Doc. You're supposed to be over here in 2 minutes. Doc, you're supposed to be over there in 3 minutes. You got to see Mr. and you got to see Mrs. or whatever.
Well, we every day we have a schedule, so we have that already set. So we know who are we gonna see every day.
Yeah. You got to put the word "supposed to"
Correct.
in front of that.
Because we have cancellations or no shows.
Well, I was thinking the other way around. You haven't been here for 2 months because of stuff that's happened.
Patient care and
that's number one.
And we have providers were out and not in good health. They were out on sick leave.
Oh, you mean staff?
Staff
Oh,
for
okay,
other
yeah.
doctors, and also we had nursing staffing that were down as well. So we were kind of covering all those bases and seeing patients today. That's why we weren't here this past 2 months, taking care of patients.
Someone's been calling me. Thank goodness.
Keep you updated.
Yeah.
She calls.
Yes.
Yeah,
Once again, the manager.
the manager. She calls me. Yeah.
Correct.
She and I thank you for the call, though. It makes it a little smoother in here.
Yeah.
It is last minute, but at least the call is there.
Yeah.
We're not standing outside. Where are they? Where are they? Kind of thing.
Yeah. So
Now,
we pre-plan the day. Every day is pre-planned, but things change
you're
and
fluid.
and we
Like that word?
also provide care to veterans that are not assigned to this area. So they
Yeah, I was
come
gonna
and
ask that.
walk in. Yes, they come and walk in, and they are if they're not registered with us, we register them, and they see the nurse. And if they need to see a doctor, they see mainly me. If I'm not in the office, then they see another provider that is in the office.
So let's say they're from Chicago and they came in the area. I could say a snowbird maybe,
Visiting.
or visiting relatives,
Mm-hmm.
and something happens. Or what if they just come in the area and they want to register just in case?
No, they can't do that.
They can't do it. So it has to be for a doctor's visit.
Correct. If there's several ways to handle that situation, if the veteran is from Chicago and is here wintering, passing the winter in Florida, and his primary care team is in Chicago, the first thing the patient need to do is call his primary care team, address the issue with the primary care team, provide the team the address, and now with VA Video Connect, appointments should be available for the veterans even from the distance. And that primary care team can have an appointment with the veteran virtually, and the doctor can order medicines to the address where the veteran is staying at.
Unless you actually have to have hands-on.
Correct. Now, if the veteran cannot have the appointment for some reason in video, the veteran can ask for a traveling veteran coordinator consult for one visit. So the traveling veteran coordinator in the mother end will send a consult to North Florida, South Georgia, and the North Florida, South Georgia team will coordinate. If in this case, if the closest clinic is Ocala, they send me a message in the patient's chart. They register the patient and everything. And then we accommodate the patient need accordingly with either me or one of the doctors in the office.
All right, Tom has a question.
How does that work then? I understand visitors, but how does that work for somebody who has dual residency? 6 months they live in Vermont, 6 months they live in Ocala because they're a snowbird. How does that equate? Do they not have the option to use the clinic here? They have to telemedicine with their doctor in Vermont because they're registered there, or vice versa. When they're in Vermont and they're registered here, they have to telecommunicate with here because they can't get service in Vermont?
So patients, VA is one healthcare system, but the veterans only with certain conditions are approved for VA dual enrollment. That is different. They cannot be enrolled in two VA healthcare systems. They can be enrolled in one. Now, like I was saying, if the veteran cannot hold a visit in video, then the veteran can ask for a traveling vet coordinator consult, and then the doctor here will see the patient. If the patient requires more attention, then we will schedule the patient for follow-up. Now, if the patient walks in, because it happens, they just see where is the closest medical center or clinic where they're staying at, and they see Ocala is the one, so they come and our enrollment and eligibility officer register the patient. They fill the form of their concern or
Right.
issue, and then one of the nurses triage the patient. So then, after triaging, the nurse will present the case. In this case, usually they present the case to me.
Yeah.
And depending on what's going on, then we make the decision if the patient needs further attention in the hospital in Gainesville, or we see him him or her in the office, and then just go ahead and do what we need to do.
Wow. Okay.
So it leaves there's some challenges in snowbirds have to deal with when they live in two places in the same year.
Well,
if
it's
they're a
not-
veteran.
It's not a challenge. That is coordination. If you plan to live 6 months of your life in an outside of your comfort area, let's say that way, because that's where you are in the non-winter time. So you need to plan ahead, even with your doctor, because I do have patients that they are the opposite. They go in the winter months to
Up north. Yeah.
So if they need something, they still call them. The doctor need to create a comfort zone with their patient and make them feel comfortable. Again, I mean, maybe
Yeah.
I'm redundant with that word, but
Comfortable? No, you can never be too
So-
comfortable.
so if the doctor and the patient had an excellent relation and the team, the patient will call you no matter what.
No matter where
And,
they are.
and there's some ways of communication. We have phone communication. We have also secure messaging, which is via email
Okay.
through my Healthy Vet, and that way we can see the patient or make arrangements. But like I said, if the patient I cannot fulfill the needs in this end, then I will submit a consult to traveling veteran coordinator so the patient can have whatever they need, wherever they are
Okay.
under the United States and U.S. territories. That is not applying international. So if the veteran is Hawaii, Puerto Rico, Guam,
Virgin Islands?
Virgin Islands, that we can do
Accommodate them.
Accommodate them.
You like that word? Too?
Yes.
See, I've had a few coffees this morning. My vocabulary is up
Yes.
a notch.
So you went from 60 words to 70?
75.
Oh, well,
Now,
it's learning.
One.
Now
thank you.
Now there are veterans that they have multiple comorbidities or medical conditions that are not well controlled or very complicated. They can apply for dual enrollment, so they can be enrolled in VA-A and VA-B.
And that's because they have conditions that would require them to be able to have the care
Correct.
that they need at all times. So you have to do that for both places they live.
Correct. So the veteran need to apply in the mother VA, where the main VA they're enrolled, to have dual enrollment in North Florida or whatever they're staying at.
Okay. Cool. Now,
Okay.
you can call 622-9622. We are doing Veterans News, and the clinic is in-house. I like that, in-house. I feel like I'm watching a movie from Tonto and the Lone Ranger here with the masks and everything over there.
Yeah.
I notice you're still wearing them.
They're healthcare professionals.
Yes.
They're trying to get the word out that mask, while they may not be the be-all, end-all, they're better than not being masked, because that way germs are not spewing out of their mouth onto tabletops and everything.
I spray.
Microphone.
I spray.
Microphones.
I spray.
So,
I try to spray every
And we've
day.
all been vaccinated, but they're still it's a choice, and medical professionals wish that we would all choose to wear them.
we're
He's
here
just trying to
today.
make brownie points.
We're here today to talk about mainly just breast cancer awareness. This is breast.
It is
cancer
Breast
it
Cancer Awareness
right,
Month.
yeah, sure.
Yes.
Save
yes.
second base.
Yes, and we have a little over 600 veterans, female veterans at our clinic, and we just want to have a discussion going.
Sure.
One of the things that I found with my mother and one of my sisters is that when they went to get their mammograms and they found the breast cancer they both had, it was the first mammogram either of them had in a very long time, because they just don't like the exam. Do you find that a lot, Nurse Raheem, that women just don't like the exam?
That is true. However, within recent years, women, including myself, it's something that has to be done. In the same way, none of us like to have our labs drawn. But it's something which has to be done because we see what happens when we neglect that aspect of our health. So we get it done, and we're very thankful if it's once a year. We do not have to come back.
Oh,
later.
okay. It's a yearly exam.
If everything is normal, it's a yearly exam. If something is a little abnormal, then further testing is done. I'm very close to when the mammogram was performed.
Now, I understand. It's not just women. Men have breast cancer too.
Yes, they do.
So it's Now I've never had men don't get a mammogram. I don't presume.
No, males are not typically under the screening process for breast cancer,
Right.
but they can have it. In my clinic experience, I had a patient a year ago, 88-year-old man with breast cancer.
There you go.
So, it can happen. Now, the breast cancer in males can be more aggressive than females based on the amount of tissue we have. Not saying that the breast cancer is less aggressive in female patients, because we do have aggressive cancers in females, but the risk of metastasis or spreading to another places in males is quicker because men don't have the breast tissue and padding like
We have
women.
less tissue, so less to get cancer, so it spreads to other areas quicker.
Correct. So basically, men's, we have just the breast, and then right away you have the muscle behind it, and out behind that you have the skeleton, which is the ribs,
Right.
and tend to be spread quicker. So usually men's, they get surgery pretty quick, and treatment and radiation and chemo like women's do. But breast cancer is a disease that is very sad like others, but and it's challenging depending on the type and staging and all that.
That was my other question. What are the signs? In other words, I think I have it. What do they? Is it a pain? Is it a lump? What is it?
A lump. You lump many times it's self-discovery with men, women, mainly men are doing their breast exam, manual breast exam. But men too sometimes will say they noticed and they discover it themselves and would come to us for guidance and further investigation. But it's discovered many times by self-exam.
Correct. So women's are mainly educated in self breast exam versus men. Men don't tend to check their breast.
No one's ever told me how to do that. No,
Correct.
no.
So and the lesions in the breast, they can be painful. They cannot be. They can be as big as a lump, or they can be a teeny weeny like a pea, or smaller than that. And that doesn't exclude that we shouldn't investigate further. Everything should be investigated until everything is clear and precise of what's going on.
Is there a hereditary connection here
Yes.
with breast cancer?
There's several. There could be hereditary conditions based on genetics. And in other cases, there's no connection at all. Like, you have generations of grandmother, mother, sisters, aunts, and this daughter in particular developed cancer.
And the rest are fine.
And the rest are fine. But it's advised and encouraged to all the females in the family to get checked and tested. And once that person, like patient X, get the final diagnosis, which is after during the testing and checkup, markers are indicated after a biopsy when the radiologist perform a biopsy of the lesion. Pathology send the lesion for markers, which are the markers are genetic testing for a specific type of cancer, and they will let the doctors know if the cancer is hormone driven or non-hormone driven based on which one. It's like a switch, on and off. So let's say in this case it's positive or negative. So depending on what is positive and negative, that's the treatment this patient A or B is going to have.
I hate what's the survival rate if early detection?
Depends on the type of cancer
Okay.
and the action of oncology and surgery.
I have a friend who we just did a benefit for her and her husband because she got diagnosed with breast cancer. A week later, he got diagnosed with colon cancer within 1 week each other. But as soon as she got diagnosed, she had a double mastectomy. And I know 4 or 5 of my friends that when they got breast cancer, they had a double. As soon as they got diagnosed, no chemo, that we want a double mastectomy. That was the first thing they wanted to do. Is that the way that is going now, where mastectomies are the way that a lot of women are choosing to deal with this situation?
I got a no shake of head. We can't hear that. She's shaking her head. We can't hear that. You say no.
Each patient is different.
Okay.
Each cancer, depending on a lot of variables. And the patient and the physician, the doctor, the oncologist, radiologist, the team, the patient and the team decide what's the best mode of treatment for this cancer and for this patient. Also, there are lots of ongoing research, and new treatments are coming to light, and those are presented, and a decision is made. So do not compare your friend's treatment and your friend's cancer with you. You discuss with your team because everyone is different.
Correct.
Now, is the VA clinic or hospital, everything, it never changes. It's very fluid. The treatments and all that. Is there programs? I don't want to use the word experimental, but are there programs that are?
The word will be research.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Currently, we do have standard treatments. If the patient's, meaning like patient after diagnosis and staging, during diagnosis, let me go back. Once the patient has a biopsy done and primary care knows what type of cancer the patient has, patient is referred to oncology and surgery. So at the same time. So that doesn't mean the appointment is going to be the same day, but the doctor need to send the patient to both at the same time to start discussing plan of care. So surgery will take care of one thing, and oncology will take care of the other. Now, once that is happening, the pathology is waiting for the markers. Once the markers are back, then the 3 parties will decide, in this case, patient, oncology, and surgery, what would be the best interest of treatment. Now, if the treatment for the patient is not available because XYZ cancer is resistant and has been demonstrated resistance, the oncology team can reach out other programs or research programs around, let's say that could be in University of Florida or South Florida, depending where the research program is going, and they can apply for the treatment.
So the VA, per se, the whole nut and bolts, we're going to have to take a break in about a minute. Not only are they a self-contained entity in the United States and surrounding, we'll just say the United States, they also work with the private sector with research. So it's not just, okay, if we don't have it,
You're done.
you don't have it.
Correct.
So we got about 30 seconds to go. We're going to take a break at the bottom of the hour. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. The VA Clinic will be here for another half hour during Veterans News. We thank them for stopping in, and we'll be right back right after this.
You're listening to 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. This is WOCA, The Source.
Broadcasting from the Ocala International Airport, this is WOCA AM, W242CA FM, Ocala, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
USA Radio News with Lance Pry.
America's coronavirus outbreak is rapidly improving as the Delta wave lessens. By the numbers nationwide, the United States is now averaging a 22% drop in new cases over the past 2 weeks. Hawaii has the lowest number of new cases relative to its population, followed by Florida and Louisiana. Representative Fred Keller, the Republican from Pennsylvania, told Newsmax that he was a great big no on the massive spending package going through Congress.
If it's that good, I don't know why they're having to twist so many arms of people in their own party. The next thing should be the amount of debt that we're looking at and what's included in these bills. The way that they're going about this is not the way that the founders of our great republic figured it out to work.
La Nina weather patterns will slam the west coast of the United States this weekend, dropping heavy rain and multiple feet of snow in the Sierra Nevada mountain range. USA Radio News.
There's a lot of confusion about how to protect yourself from COVID, with guidelines and regulations changing by the week. One thing is certain, you need an accurate thermometer for your family to check for fever, the leading sign of flu and COVID. Only the Exergen temporal scanner thermometer has been proven accurate in more than 100 clinical studies. Don't rely on non-contact thermometers. They have no scientific studies behind them.